Hello everyone, my name is Jen, and welcome to the Book Refuge. Hello my friends, and today I am so excited to be announcing my participation and co-hosting position in the Afterathon, which was created by Crystal at Books Forever After. And she so graciously invited me to be a co-host for this readathon, which will be through the entire month of May. And though she originally curated this to be celebrating her favorite things about historical romance, it is expanded to include all types of romance, and that just makes me so happy. And as I mentioned in my Mafia Romance readathon announcement, if you watch that, this will, I think, overlap quite well with the Mafia Romance readathon, particularly for my team that I picked. But because of the nature of how the points are counted in this, I think that, whichever team you decide you want to be on, you definitely don't have to be on my team. Definitely check out the other teams and pick the one you think you are the most excited to find recs for. But really the way she has it laid out, it's that type of readathon that anything you're reading is going to count, right? And I love those type of readathons so much. And I think she's just put such beautiful work into this. It makes me really excited to be a part of it. And you guys know I've really slowed down the amount of readathons that I have done. And that's because they are a lot of work and they take a lot of dedication. And it's hard for me to commit so much time into them. So I've really kind of whittled it down to really just the Mafia Romance readathon and maybe one other a year that I do. But when I was asked to co-host this one, I was like, absolutely. You've done all this beautiful work already, and I just have to read books and encourage people to read books, which is what my life is anyway. Count me in. So I'm going to go over the teams and talk about my team and try to make this a quicker video because I'm going to link to her announcement video where she goes deep into everything. And so please go follow her and give her some support. Somehow Crystal's channel is still under 1,000 subscribers, and I don't know how that's possible because she's just amazing. She's been such a good support and resource for other people in the community for a while, particularly with historical romance, and you really just need to go give her some love, including all of the ladies I'm about to talk about for this readathon, but particularly in that sense, you need to go and give her some love for sure. So let's get into this. We'll talk about the teams. And then, yes, I know this week I had 2 videos that were readathon announcements. And those of you who are here for recommendations are probably like, oh my gosh, can we get back to that? Well, I wanted to get both of these readathons announced because then I'm really going to kick it into gear with some recommendations that will work particularly for these readathons. But also, they'll just be recs in oddly specific tropes that you guys love for me anyway, but you'll see how they fit in with these readathons once I get there. So just wanted to put that out there. So a bit about this readathon, I think I've already said. So, yeah, like we said, you'll be able to read any books that you want, really. She has it where it doesn't even have to be romance. I know that's what my channel is mostly going to read. That's what most of you doing this are going to read. But if there's other things you end up reading as well, they will still count. It's that type of one where even the pages read count. If you're reading certain demographics, they'll count. So yeah, and then each team also has a book, like us co-hosts agreed on a book each. There's also a team book. So those are also be ways to get points and things like that. So first let's go, I think, over the team. Okay, so starting off with the teams, we'll go through the others and end with mine. As she did, we'll do it alphabetically because that'll be great. So first up, there is the artist team, which is co-hosted by Amber from Amber Reads Romance. Another double up from the Mafia Romance readathon, and Monica from Pardon This Book Addict. And for Team Artist, their tropes are Reformed Rake, Marriage in Trouble, and House Party. And the book that they have picked for the artist is Lady Isabella's Scandalous Marriage by Jennifer Ashley, a wonderful, wonderful book. So that has me very excited for everybody who's going to discover that one. Then there is Team Beast, which is co-hosted by Bee from Mama Needs to Read Romance and Violet from Violet Cat. And their tropes are recluse hero, marriage of convenience, and caretaking. And the book that they picked was The Work of Art by Mimi Matthews. So that is exciting. I have only read one thing by Mimi Matthews, actually, so that's crazy. Then there is The Professor, which is co-hosted by Becky from Bex Reads and Steph from My Kind of Steph. And their tropes are academic hero, workplace romance, and letters/correspondence. So epistolatory, or, in a modern sense, like email or text message is a good part of the story. And their book choice is, this one I have to zoom in on, The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love by India Holton. Very interesting. That's another one I have not heard of before. And then my team is The Spy, and of course co-hosted by moi, as well as Tara from Tara Talks Books. And our tropes are assassin hero, enemies to lovers, and the rendezvous tryst. Now, just a quick clarification for that. Crystal is saying that a rendezvous tryst would be spicy times in any place but like the bedroom. So that is how she's categorizing the rendezvous tryst. So I like that. We can definitely work with that for sure. So you may guess by the choice of The Spy how my team might work well with a Mafia Romance Readathon, particularly like assassin heroes or things like that. But our book choice for this, and I'm so happy that Tara agreed with me. I was like, make sure you like dark romance. So this is an erotic historical romance that I chose, but when I thought assassin hero, enemies to lovers, historical, I immediately thought of Her Villain by S.M. La Violette. I've recommended this book so many times. I love it. And I also think not a lot of people have read it, though I know quite a few of you who follow my channel have, because you've told me. This is, I think, book 4 in a series, but it's not connected to the other ones barely at all. It really isn't. And this one includes a hero who, he's an assassin, and while he's working a mission, he takes basically a live-in, there's no other way to say this, lady of the night, to be having sexy times with while he's working a mission. It also involves like BDSM. So I think this is going to hit a lot of prompts as well for people, as well as being our team book. So you'll be able to read this one. Okay, so the first things that you'll want to do if you want to participate in this one is pick which team you're interested in. So again, I know that I was saying The Spy will overlap well with the Mafia Romance Readathon. That does not mean you need to be on my team to be participating in it. In fact, Arranged Marriage works well with those. The Beast character works well with those. And you'll still get points for reading, any book that you read. And you'll see we'll go over the point thing. It's a lot like when I was a part of Realmathon, how everything you read can count for something. Even books you DNF, you'll be able to count a certain amount of points for those. So there's that. But you'll want to sign up for the readathon on the Google form that'll be down below so that she can track your points, and you pick your team and you'll get allotted to that. And this also has to do with, she needs to know the number of people on each team so that she can do a fair accounting, right? There's always that little game people have to do to even things out a bit. You can then choose to join the Discord if you want. There'll be a link to that. There'll be signups for readathons, and there'll be, schedules that are put there and everything, as well as there, I guess, will be a buddy read channel there if you want to find someone to read a book with. And I mean, one of my favorite parts of readathons has been the Discords, honestly. because it's such a great way to make friends. And the point of the readathon, besides just getting you to read more, is also sometimes to find friends through them, right? Like that's how I've met quite a few people in the book world over the years, is by doing readathons and being on teams and things like that. So that's really fun. You'll want to subscribe to or follow all of the hosts. And then once May starts and you read, after each book you read, you can fill out the then point tracker, right? Which again, if you've done a few of these readathons that I've talked about before, there's usually one of those. One of the things I suggest to people is you can literally save it to the home screen of your phone, or save it, in your Google, if you use Google, like to your Google top, and then every time you finish a book, you can log it there to make sure you get all your points counted. And the team rankings will be posted every Sunday. So that's the other thing too. Not only are there all the co-hosts to follow, but Afterathon has its own Instagram where Crystal posts all of her stuff there. She'll also post if there's books on sale or deals on some of the books involved. So that can be a really great place to go for that. There'll also be down below, of course, the link for all the graphics if you want to share some on Instagram or you want things to put in your journal, and things like that. So now let's briefly go over the points. I'll go over this rather quickly because, again, you can watch Crystal's video if you have deeper questions on it, but I think this is really cool how she has it set up. So how the points will be tracked. And again, this is one of those things that it's like we're going to go over what they all mean for you to plan strategy, but when you're actually doing the points, she has a form for you to fill out where you just click, you put in the book and the title and how many pages it was, and then you just go click, click, click of which prompts it covered, and she tracks the points for you, right? So you don't have to worry about accurately counting it yourself unless you want to be tracking your points. If you're obsessive like me, if you want to be tracking the points separately, right? You just need to have the link to that point tracker and you put it in. But in case you want to strategize and maximize the points so your team wins, you will want to keep this in mind. So points for pages read, she has it a straight 1-to-1 tracking ratio. So every page finished is a point, right? So there, I'm sure will be discussions about this later about how you can track a, fan fiction, how you can turn it into pages. If it is a manga, like all of those things, I'm sure she'll have answers too. I don't know how this readathon is doing it specifically, but I've never done a readathon where they haven't had a workaround for that, so don't worry. And so when you put in this is where she means if you DNF'd a book, you can still put that into the tracker because she doesn't want you to be forced to finish anything you don't want to and take up your time for something else. So let's say, like me, I give a book 47 pages and I'm like, this one is not working, I am getting out of it. You can still put it in for that. Then if it is historical, boom, you automatically are getting 300 points added. If it is a romance of any type, you get 50 points added. So again, this still means if it's not historical or romance, you can still track the book, right? If you have to read a fiction book or a nonfiction book for a class, or you're reading one for self-help, like you can still track those things. And in fact, if the book is historical but not romance, right, it still counts. Like if it's historical fiction or if it's again, non-fictional thing or something. But where I was going, in fact, if it is a BIPOC author or has BIPOC rep in the story, it's 400 points. So again, if you just read a romance that is BIPOC, it is going to count for all those points. Or, and this is what I'm excited for because I'm still on my fanfiction addiction, if it is LGBTQIA plus author or representation, it's also 400 points. So that's exciting to me for all the fan fiction I've been reading that is Hall and Off related, right? It'll count in there. But she makes these worth more points. And again, she explains this. I don't want to take words away from her, but it's exciting to her when we can read those books with that type of rep. And especially within the historical aspect. If you have a historical romance you're reading here that's also by a BIPOC author, that is a 700 point book before you've even counted the pages or for any of the tropes involved. So you can definitely see what is weighted very heavily in this. Now, if you read your team's character, it's worth 200 points. Okay, so wowza in there, right? That is a lot. And this is where I think, just again, pontificating a bit, how I think some of these prompts will work so well with the Mafia readathon, because it's like if you read an Enemies to Lovers for Mafia, and let's say it's by a BIPOC author and it's a romance, like there's 650 points before you've ever even read it, right? So very exciting in there, I think. But yeah, so if you're reading your team's character, it is 200 points. Then if you read one of your team's tropes, see, that's another one. I forgot about that. That'd be 750 before you get going. So for each team, right, they had 3 tropes for each character. So if the book you're reading has one of those, you get that. Then she also has some, like, again, everything will get points. So if you read the other team's character, it's 25 points. And if you're reading one of their tropes, it's 10 points. So basically a tenth of the points if you're reading the other team's characters, but you still will get points for doing that as well. Then finally, the bonus points here. If it is a readathon book pick, it is 100 points. And I totally forgot to say what her readathon pick was, because that is also one of them. And that is the Eloisa James. Sorry, I literally cannot read that. It's so tiny my thing. But this is the group readathon pick. So that one's worth 100 points. Then if you read one of the team book picks, it's worth 100 points. So again, anyone on our team who reads her villain, you're literally getting 350 plus 200 plus another, like it is just going to stack real quick if you're able to read that. So then it is 50 points if you read another team's book pick. So if there are any of the other teams that you haven't read their choice, that one's worth that. And then it is 25 points if the team's character is in the title. So that's kind of exciting. So if you find one that, just an example, I'm literally making this up, The Artist Who Loved Me. Okay, let's say that's the title of a historical romance. That would be a little bonus points for you there. So there you go. That is how the points will be tracked. And again, you won't have to keep track of that. You will just need to have the link to the point tracker. But she does also have, as you are competing, if you're using the Instagram graphics, she also makes it really easy where you're just check boxing for each book that you complete, and you can share how many points it was worth, and maybe that will make people excited as well to see. So she has all those graphics linked in the Google Drive, which I'll have down below. I'll have the sign-up form down below, and I'll kind of put the steps in order in my description the way that she explains it on the sheet. But that is pretty much the basics of this. There will also be, of course, live shows. She has a date for the opening live is already picked out. It'll be on Thursday, April 30th, though the time is to be decided. There will also be Crystal's birthday celebration, since this is a readathon to celebrate her, which will be on Monday the 25th. And then there will be the closeout, which will be on Sunday, May 31st. So all of those times are to be determined. So again, the best things to do is, if you do have Discord and like to be in there, join the Ever Afterathon's Discord. Follow Ever Afterathon on Instagram if you don't want to use Discord. And then also, I think, keep an eye in her community posts. Or Crystal might not have access to community posts. I just realized. I don't know if she does. But I'll definitely be sharing updates in mine there. If you have any questions or are wondering about anything. But otherwise, I really don't want to drag this video on. I already made the Mafia one was super long, and this is just me kind of re-going over the info. But I hope you will choose to participate in this. Like I said, you can literally be reading anything, and readathons are such a fun way to encourage yourself to read, because it's so satisfying when you finish your book and you get to go in and fill out the form and you see all the points that you're getting for your team. And that's something that, like I said, the months of the year that I have had the most reading and the most fun were when I've done readathons like this, like when I did Realmathon, even the times too when I used to have the Romance Takeover readathon. I hope to do that again sometime too, where just like everything you read can count and you're just getting these big amounts of points and it's just so much fun. But also just the people you meet and the sprints and hanging out together while we read. Like in 2025, my best reading month by far was when I was part of Realmathon, because we just did so many sprints together, just hanging out and reading and crafting, you know, and that led me to do the Craftathon, which I did last year, which, you know, you guys let me know, maybe we should do that again too, where it was literally just crafting while we were reading, and it was the best time. So I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching. Again, the links to everything will be down below so you can be signed up and ready. May is coming up quick, you know, like it is only 2 weeks away. So it's going to be time to go guns blazing on it and read some historical romance, some mafia romance, whatever we can pack in. So thank you so much for watching, friends, and I'll see you next time.